Leading questions can significantly damage the integrity of the statement. In this video, Examples of Avoiding Leading Questions, we'll look at 3 different types of leading questions and assess their effects. Afterwards, we'll correct each example, eliminating the leading questions, and look to improve upon the original result.
Can you tell me what happened in the accident?
Sure. She stopped short and I couldn't stop in time.
So the front of your car struck the rear of hers?
Yeah.
Vehicle points of impact are important to establish on every auto claim, but this is too non-specific. This question implies a collision squarely in the middle of the 2 vehicles. Studies show that humans are very unlikely to go against suggestions like these, even if what is being suggested isn't accurate. In this case, perhaps the interviewee feels like what actually happened isn't different enough from the suggestion to contradict the adjuster, or that this detail isn't important enough to make it worth disagreeing. That's not a decision you should be allowing the interviewee to make. It's your responsibility to ask questions that make it easy to draw out the details, not make it more difficult. So instead of suggesting the 2 cars met squarely in the middle, let's try asking a different, non-leading question. What was the point of impact on each vehicle? Should tell us what we need to know.
Can you tell me what happened in the accident?
Sure. She stopped short and I couldn't stop in time.
What was the point of impact on each vehicle?
I swerved to the left, so it's actually the front right and the entire right side of my vehicle that impacted the left corner of her rear bumper.
If we had stuck by our leading question, we might have been very confused when we saw the vehicle's damage. By refraining from suggesting an answer, we get full detail from the interviewee as they remember it. This will always be preferable to the interviewee confirming or denying a suggestion. Our next example will be an assumptive leading question. This happens when you form a question based on an assumption you have made. The assumption itself may or may not be included in the question, and the interviewee may or may not see things the same way. When a question is asked and then answered without all the relevant details explicitly understood, it can lead to misinformation and confusion. Let's show you what we mean.
Were you backing up when the accident occurred?
Yes.
You said you looked in both directions before backing.
Yes.
How late in your backing up did you see the other vehicle?
It wasn't that late. I thought I saw them in time.
In this example, the adjuster assumes the interviewee must not have seen the other vehicle before beginning their backing, so they ask a question based on that assumption. Questions that begin with how much, how late, how often, etc. are often assumptive questions. The problem with these questions is they eliminate the potential to gather more detail. For instance, the interviewee is much less likely to say that they saw the vehicle before backing or didn't see the vehicle at all because there isn't room for that in the question. Instead of how late in your backing up, let's ask the interviewee whether they saw the other vehicle before backing.
Were you backing up when the accident occurred?
Yes.
You said you looked in both directions before backing.
Yes.
Did you see the other vehicle before backing?
I did, but it was far enough away where I should have been able to back out.
As you can see, the interviewee asserts that they saw the other car before backing, which is a different answer than the one we received in the original example. Because it is not influenced by a leading question, we should consider this answer to be significantly more representative. The third type of leading question is one that is convoluted. They add a level of complexity that obscures the mutual understanding gained from simpler questions, which can mean the statement taker and interviewee talk past each other or fail to adequately answer questions. Let's show you what we mean.
Okay, let's see. You said it was snowing at the time of the accident. So was the road slippery? Did you feel yourself sliding during the turn, and did that contribute to the accident?
No, not really.
The problem with this question is that it's 3 questions in one. Was the road slippery? Did you lose control of your vehicle? And did the road conditions contribute to the accident? All 3 are good follow-up questions, but combined, it forces the statement taker to interpret the interviewee's answer. Here, the interviewee answers no. Are they saying no to just one question, more than one, or to all of them? Or maybe they object to the narrative they perceive the adjuster to be building. Instead of asking all 3 questions in a single question, let's separate them and ask them one at a time so we can be sure we understand the interviewee's answer. Since we know the snow was falling, we'll start by asking if the road was slippery.
Okay, let's see. You said it was snowing at the time of the accident. Was the road slippery?
Yes. The snow had been falling for about an hour, so there was a little buildup on the road.
At any point prior to the accident, did you lose control of your vehicle due to the road conditions?
No, I didn't. I was going very slow, probably 10 or 15 miles an hour.
You said you didn't. Do you believe the road conditions had any effect on the accident?
Well, I saw the other car moving in its lane a little before impact. It's possible that the other driver was slipping on something before we collided.
You might point out that separating the question into its individual parts took more time. This is true. However, it's much more important that the statement taker can now trust each of these answers and their rapport with the interviewee remains intact. In the big picture, it will take far less time to separate these questions and get reliable answers than it will to recover from a gap in understanding caused by an assumption, or even a cascade of assumptions by the statement taker. As you can see from these examples, leading questions drastically reduce the flow of important information. In the first example, a suggestion from the adjuster caused a misunderstanding. In the second example, an assumption by the adjuster caused confusion for both parties. In the third example, multiple questions asked as one made it impossible for the interviewee to sufficiently answer each part.